As bad as that is this news. Patrick Mahomes has a torn ACL. It happened late in the fourth quarter of their loss to the Chargers. You watched it live here on NFL Red Zone. Kansas City officially putting out on their social media account, an MRI has confirmed it. Patrick Mahomes done for the remainder of the season with a torn ACL, and next season is about 9 months away, so we hope the best for Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes himself tweeting out this. Don't know why this had to happen. Again, these are Patrick Mahomes' words here. And not going to lie, it hurts. But all we can do now is trust in God and attack every single day over and over again. Thank you, Chiefs Kingdom, for always supporting me and for everyone who has reached out and sent prayers. I will be back. The words of Patrick Mahomes on social media shortly after learning that his ACL was torn. Tough day for Kansas City and for pro football, quite frankly.
That the 2025 Kansas City Chiefs season. Looks like Aiden Hutchinson's running one back now. Isn't that sweet? He didn't make it. Anyway, I just have to say, we saw this coming, right? I mean, I didn't think they would fall off this far. But I really thought was that Andy Reid, being the great Andy Reid, one of the best offensive minds in football, and my thought process is that Andy Reid being this amazing coach, so many wins, Hall of Famer, won 2 straight Super Bowls out of 3, and won another one on top of it. So he's won 3 out of 5. You would think that he understands how to win games. And I would assume that that's what he wants to do, mostly. But watching this team this year, I have to question how much they really wanted to win. I mean, it's not that they didn't want to, but it didn't look like they really did any installs over the since the bye week at least.
Well, we're going to try to tickle your tonsils on every play, every game.
Oh, my tonsils are tickled, Andy. My tonsils have never been more tickled in my life. Are you feeling it now, Mr. Krabs? Are you feeling the tickling in your tonsils? Because I sure am. I sure freaking am. After what you're about to do.
4th and 1, and they're going to go to 10-10 game. Anderson almost got there. Pass is incomplete.
Like they ran the same exact offense, the same plays, the same formations, the same motions. They didn't change anything up.
But this might take the cake. Considering the circumstances and just how insane it was, this might take the cake. So with that being said, let's take a look at why going for it on 4th and 1 and throwing the ball in a tie game in your own territory with 10 minutes to go is a really bad idea. And I need to emphasize that this decision does not take place in a vacuum. There were times where I have no problem going for it on 4th and 1 in a tie game at this exact same yard line. If this was a game where it's a shootout and your offense is clicking, but the other offense is also clicking and they're moving down the field with ease, that's an entirely different story. So if you're going for it at your own 31-yard line on 4th and 1, it is not automatically always a dumb decision. But here, this was a complete lack of understanding for the flow of the game. Your defense have been playing incredibly well. How well? You're seeing it right now. The Texans offense had done quite literally nothing all half. If you were watching this game on your couch, you were about as productive as the Texans were during the second half offensively. After the halftime break, Houston had 5 drives. On those 5 drives, the Texans got a grand total of 1 first down. As you can see from these highlights, it's not hard to see why Houston was struggling. On those 5 drives, the Texans picked up a grand total of 17 yards of offense. That is 3 yards per drive, or thereabout. They called 18 plays and got 17 yards. You don't need to be a mathematician to know that this comes out to less than a yard per play. And you don't need to know anything about the sport to know that this sounds really bad. And that's because it is. On 3 of those 5 drives, the Texans failed to get a single yard. The Texans ran the ball 7 times on those 5 drives and picked up 6 yards. The Texans threw the ball 11 times, and on those 11 dropbacks, CJ Stroud not only missed his first 7 passes, but went 2 for 9 with 13 net passing yards. If you include the end of the first half, on CJ Stroud's last 12 dropbacks, he went 2 for 10 with 8 net passing yards, averaging less than 1 net yard per dropback and having as many completions as he had sacks. This was not a situation by any means where you cannot stop the Texans from moving the ball down the field, and punting only delays the inevitable, and the Texans get the ball, go on a 7-minute drive, churn a ton of clock, and take the lead. The Texans had no answers offensively. And here you are, just giving them the ball in literal field goal range if you don't get the first down, and giving them a chance to win the game, at the very least take the lead, by doing nothing. I know it's hard to deal with hypotheticals because so much can change in this sport, but let's realistically think about it with the sample size we have. Let's say you punt the ball away at your own 31-yard line. Odds are Matt Nagy will punt it about 45 yards, and the Texans are starting their drive at their own 24-yard line. Do you honestly think that the Houston Texans, who have gotten 17 yards in their last 5 drives combined and are averaging less than a yard per play this half, who have gotten 19 yards in their last 6 drives combined on an average of 0.7 yards per play, and who have gotten 34 yards in their last 7 drives combined on an average of 1.1 yards per play, will drive all the way down the field and put themselves in a spot to get 3 points and take the lead? No! There's no chance that happens. Maybe not no chance, but the odds are not on their side. This is a defensive slugfest, and you're taking it to them. And now, you're literally going to give them the ball in field goal range if this fails? For no reason?
I mean, that shotgun RPO has to go. Let's just say that right now. I'm just going to take a gander at, I'm going to look at Chiefs Planet. I'm just going to take a look here and see what kind of threads do we have going on. Overreactions are they having on overreactionplanet.com. History is going to remember Matt Nagy as the guy that ruined a generational QB. Matt Nagy didn't ruin him. One, he's not ruined. It's fixable. It's coachable. You just have to coach him. Number 2, it's not Matt Nagy, it's Andy Reid. This is Andy Reid's offense, okay? It's Andy Reid's offense. That RPO is his baby. He loves that. One read, college fucking bullshit offense. No, seriously. It's a one read, college spread RPO. They're constantly in the shotgun. They run the ball out of the shotgun. When they run, a lot of times it's out of RPOs, so the offensive line doesn't know if they're running or passing. Tell me why that doesn't make for an efficient game. Like, the whole thing is fucked. That's not on Matt Nagy, because they're running the same shit now that they were running during 2022 when they won the Super Bowl then. Matt Nagy wasn't on this staff. He was still coaching Chicago Bears at that time. So you can fire Matt Nagy, but if Andy Reid doesn't change this offense, it's going to be the same fucking shit, because guess what? This is the same shit Eric Bieniemy was running. Oh, and by the way, Eric Bieniemy, very unsuccessful in both of his offensive coordinator positions after he left the Kansas City Chiefs. So, to be like, oh, it's Matt Nagy. Matt Nagy's what changed. No, what changed is that NFL defenses have caught up to this spread RPO. It's one read. So you blow up that one read and the whole play's over. And so the way that Andy Reid dressed it up was in all those motions. He would use all the shifts and all the motions to try and get some matchups, but really it was kind of confusing defenses a little bit, and it was just so fast that they weren't ready for it. Well, we've put enough of that on tape now, and defenses have studied it for 7 years, and oh, by the way, that's what NFL defensive coordinators get paid to do. They're paid to figure out how to stop other offenses. So that's what they've done. The NFL is very cyclical. Okay, it goes in cycles. And we had this cycle where offenses were just supercharged, super fast, and running a lot of one read spread RPOs because those are college offenses. But also the reason behind that is the NFL realized that they had to play quarterbacks on their rookie contracts. Like, if you had a good quarterback, you adapted to what he did. Whereas in the past, when a quarterback got drafted, they would sit and they learned how their team did what they did. They learned how to run their team's offense. And now it's the other way around. We draft the quarterback and then we let him run his college offense so that he can play immediately. And that's why you see this proliferation of young quarterbacks coming in and just hit the ground running. But as soon as NFL defenses get that shit on tape, it's over. It's Colin Kaepernick all over again. Straight up. So Colin Kaepernick, one read college quarterback, Jim Harbaugh is like, well, we can do this, and took it to the Super Bowl. Well, you get a full season of that on tape, and you realize Colin Kaepernick can only throw when he's rolling out to his left. He doesn't even throw to his right. In fact, with his one read, the extension of that one read was to one read, one look, and either take off and run or throw the ball away. And once defenses figured that out, they shut down one half of the field on him. It's fucking done. That's what they do. So we're this blazing fast offense. Patrick Mahomes, throws 50 touchdowns, throws 5,000 yards in his first year as a starter, right? Well, immediately they start doing things to counteract that and shut that down. And that's when you saw in 2020, defenses started playing a lot of cover two, a lot of single high safety back and zone in front of that with a spy to try and negate Mahomes running around and to just make him work his way down the field, make him be patient, quit giving up those big, huge plays. And so we adapted to that, and we started passing the ball around and started going more horizontal. And that's how we won 22 and 23, was with this kind of horizontal passing game. Well, we won 22 like that. We won 23 like that. Last year's when the defenses really began to catch up to it. That's why you saw all those one-score games. It's just what it is. Okay? It was amazing that we won the Super Bowl in 23, but the fact that we got to the Super Bowl in 24 may have been the bigger accomplishment. And that was just on the will of Patrick Mahomes and that defense. We have such a good defense. There's no reason not to run the ball and rely on that defense.
You actually went for it. You freaking went for it in your own territory in a tie game, in a defensive slugfest, and you threw the ball. I'm at a loss. I'm genuinely at a loss. I'm sure this won't come back to bite you guys in any way whatsoever, I'm sure taking this chance near your own 30-yard line won't be costly and give the Texans good scoring position for no reason at all.
So that's what the problem last week with the Texans game was. You're in a close game, tied 10-10 in the fourth quarter. Punt the fucking ball and let your defense play. The Houston Texans had 17 yards up to that point. Zero situational awareness. Conversely, the week before that, the Cowboys defense really couldn't stop us, and we really couldn't stop them. And if you've already went for it on fourth down on your own side of the field, then you cross midfield and you get to another fourth down, you may as well fucking go for it then too. Keep the ball away from them, because that was obviously what they were doing, right? Wrong. We'll punt the ball for a net of 17 yards of field position. It's totally a lack of situational awareness. The only reason Andy Reid would do that is either he done forgot how to fucking coach and may have sundowners, Alzheimer's, early onset dementia, or it's rigged. I mean, either he sucks and forgot how to coach, or he was never really that good, and that's why he got ran out of Philadelphia eventually, and then Patrick Mahomes covered up for him after Alex Smith. Because, by the way, he was never going to win a fucking Super Bowl with Alex Smith at quarterback. Obviously. So Patrick Mahomes comes and covers up Andy Reid's deficiencies. And it doesn't matter if it's Matt Nagy or Eric Bieniemy, because it's Andy Reid's team. We won a Super Bowl with Eric Bieniemy, and then we won another Super Bowl with Eric Bieniemy. When Eric Bieniemy left, we won another Super Bowl with Matt Nagy and went to another Super Bowl with Matt Nagy. The offensive coordinator on this team is one of the most inconsequential positions on the entire fucking staff or roster, because it's Andy Reid. It's his offense. It's his baby. That's why when Matt Nagy and Eric Bieniemy have won other places, they haven't been nearly as successful. And somebody says, well, he's leading Chicago to the playoffs this year. He's a fucking running back coach. I bring him back as a running back coach or wide receiver coach in a heartbeat, because dun 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 dun, Connor Embry is a shit wide receivers coach. But he's one of Andy Reid's buddies. So it doesn't matter that he has no fucking background in offense since like high school, maybe college. I think he was a backup quarterback in college and played like 3 snaps or some shit. But for real, his background as a coach has been in defense. Often the wide receiver position opened up in 2023, and Connor Embry's been the wide receivers coach either since 22 or 23. I could look it up here. Hold on. Oh, Connor Embry has been the wide receivers coach since 2023. Yeah, and consequently, that was when our wide receivers really started having those terrible issues with the drops and the whole bit. And we had Kadarius Toney and MVS and Sky Moore. None of them really developed the way they were supposed to. And I think that's a big part of the issue. Coaching career. Yeah, he was hired by the Chiefs as a defensive assistant in 2019. Primarily worked with a linebacking group that accounted for 5.5 sacks and 275 tackles. 2020 primarily worked with the defensive backs. Embry was elevated in 2021 as an offensive quality control coach. Primarily worked with the wide receivers, including Tyreek Hill. Made career high 111 receptions for 1,239 yards. So, for 2 years he was offensive quality control, so they elevated him to wide receivers coach. And wide receivers have been trash ever since. Just wait until we get Hollywood and Worthy and Rice on the same field with Kelsey and Mahomes. Don't mean a fuck if you won't line up under center and run the ball. So that's really the solution.
But I think the rubber has met the road here with the age of the football team, some of the schematics on the offensive side of the ball, the lack of running the football, all of that. Yeah, they are what they are right now.
Going back to the cyclical nature of the NFL, it goes in cycles. We had this high-scoring offense, as I said before. Well, and we won the Super Bowls, and then we went horizontal. Won a Super Bowls. Oh, wow. Well, now defenses have countered that. So the solution is to run the ball from under center, from a pro set, from a balanced pro set or an offset I, run power O, ISO, blast them, especially with the offensive line that we have. Trey Smith and Sumatoala and Creed Humphrey, they're built for it. You already have the team for it. And in fact, you've got your quarterback hurt today because you just don't run the ball. And teams don't take you seriously whenever you try to play action. They laugh at it. They don't bite. You line up in the shotgun on 4th and 1 and try to pass the ball. They're ready for it. They know. Like, defenses have drafted to stop this team. They sell out to stop the pass. They do not respect the run. They'll give you 5 yards on a run because they know you won't come back to it. Look at it. So that's the big issue right there. It's Andy Reid. It's not Matt Nagy. It's Andy Reid who hires Matt Nagy and hires Connor Embry. And is okay with the job they do, makes excuses. Oh, it all starts with me. I need to do better. What was that fucking bullshit at halftime today? Well, if we just run the ball better and do a better job of catching the ball, holding on to the ball, we'd be all right. Well, if we just score more points than the other team, we'd probably win, wouldn't we? I'm not even going to talk about the refs. Plenty of people talking about that. But I knew it in the first half. You can tell when the fuckery's afoot. Patrick Mahomes acts like he don't know how to football. Look at the first half of the Cincinnati Bengals AFC Championship game at the end of the 2021 season versus the second half of that same game. And you'll see what acting looks like, what bad acting looks like, because Patrick Mahomes, you can tell, he gets pissed on the sidelines. He's not up elevating his team, doing the rah-rah, pumping everybody up. He's sitting on the sidelines, chewing on his fucking mouth guard, like, eh. And then he goes out and then he won't throw to open receivers. He just hangs onto the ball and then he'll run around and go right into the path of an oncoming rusher.
From their own 44, Pacheco is back there. Humphrey with the block. Mahomes. To rest. Sacked. Brought down.
Yep. So that's what we're looking at, folks. That's what we're looking at. It's not Matt Nagy. It's Andy Reid. Okay. So that's one thread on Chiefs Planet. Let's go back and look at another one. Will Andy retire? I'm just going to go ahead and say no, Pete. He should. But he won't. He's greedy. What would he do? Go home and spend time with his family? One son died and the other one's in prison. And maybe he just got out. Maybe he should go home and spend time with his family. Maybe that's part of the problem there, but that's not for me to judge. But he's not going to retire. He'll be here until he dies or the Clarks fire him. Cheers to one hell of a run because Chiefs. Amen. Hey, nobody thought we were going to win in 22 or 23. Again, that's Patrick Mahomes and the defense. Fire Matt Nagy into the sun. Well, we've already covered that one. Big nasty KC nut needs to start every game day thread for the rest of the season. Why? We're not going to the playoffs. It's a fucking matter. You should lose out. Improve your draft position and hurt the rest of the Wests. Because we lost to the Chargers today. May as well lose to the Broncos and somehow find a way to lose to the Raiders, which they're fuck. Woof. I don't know. I miss Bieniemy. Fire Nagy. Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm not even going to touch that. That Bieniemy can stay gone. Should we shut Mahomes down for the season? I mean, yeah, but that already got taken care of. So he fucking blew his knee out today. Yep. Lamar Jackson wasn't, isn't, and never will be better than Patrick Mahomes. So you're right about that. I should be able to start Lamar Jackson at running back in my fantasy league. So that's all that shit. We'll look at this one. All right, so this is from my buddy Wolf. It's trash all over, he says. Play calling sucks, outdated, unable to adapt. No front four pass rush. That's also true. We can't get any pressure unless we blitz. Mahomes hangs on to the ball way too long. I already told you what I think about that. Either he's trying to play hero ball or receivers can't catch. Well, they're too small. We need bigger wide receivers. Adds up to a big old shit sandwich. That's correct. My response is no running game, no situational awareness from the offensive coaching staff. Said it starts with Reid and Nagy. Better get a fucking running back to take pressure off Mahomes. That we haven't had a real fullback since Sausage retired. And I say, how about a real NFL-sized wide receiver opposite Thornton who's catching traffic?
Backfield right here. Hunt was wide, and the throw caught by Rice. Drilled, ball jarred free, incomplete. Rice is down.
Right route. Both times the play's incomplete.
And a clean hit.
It's clean. It's below the head and neck. It's wrapping the body, putting the shoulder in the midsection.
It's like no wonder we never throw slants or sluggos. He says, dude, we're so on the same page. These little speedster wide receivers need to go. Get me a big body with a catch radius. And he says that he must be having a stroke because he just saw Phillip Rivers starting a football game. Yeah, they were talking in the pregame about how the ratings of that are going to be huge because everybody's going to tune in to see Phillip Rivers play. And I'm like, man, if his kids tune in, that's going to make the Nielsen ratings jump through the roof anyway. Hey, if they wanted to win, you'd have thought they might have game planned. They might have changed shit up instead of running the same bubble screens and go routes that they ran all fucking season long. Running the ball out of shotgun with a delayed draw. You can time that play with a fucking sundial, bro. People don't even need a 40-yard dash for that one. My grandma can run that play and get -2 yards, and she's dead. So, if Andy Reid and Brett Veach are still here this next season, which they will be, come on, nobody's going to fire them over one shitty season, especially if it was scripted to be this way.
4th and 17. Mahomes spinning back around, looking right down the field. They need a big one here. There it is. To Rice and the 15 and out of bounds.
But they need to get a wide receiver that can play opposite Thornton, that can body off the ball and take a hit on a slant. They need that guy. Travis Kelce used to be that guy. Talk about timing somebody with a sundial. Holy fuck. He looked like the statue of David out there today. Caught some balls, but he sure didn't run much after him. He's just standing there. Somebody was in the Discord thread. He was asking if Kelce still drew double coverage, triple coverage. So why? He just stands there. Go back through some of this. Bleeding red. Came here to say it's time for a rebuild, obviously. You need to go back to the mainland and be like, damn, everything Rabble Rouser posted is 100% accurate. We fucked around way too much this season. Let's tank for draft position. Yeah, plus fuck up the rest of the Wests. Sure. Baby Lee. Maybe helmet slamming on the sidelines will fix everything. Show some passions. Also, Chris Jones clearly not worth it. Shop him this offseason. I'm not going to say he's not worth it, but if he's the only person you have on your defensive line that can get consistent pressure, that's a problem. And we could have had James in the same trade that Breece Hall. I mean, If they would have taken a third for Brees, what did Dallas give Missing? We could have figured something out. That's kind of on Veach. Unless they weren't supposed to win this season, so why would you make that trade anyway? Pete, it's over. I told him it was last week, Pete. I tried to tell everyone to soften the blow. Chris Jones to Texans would be a great trade. So they could beat the shit out of us with him next year? Don't trade him into the conference. Trade him to the NFC East. Trade him to the Giants or something. E. Dave says the announcers are calling it a loss a bit early. Of course, me, I say, well, they have the script too. All of our Sundays are about to free up. Bleeding red. I'm honestly very mad at the GM and coaches. I say you should be. And looking here on Twitter on the Chiefs Blitz, it says Chiefs running back Isaiah Pacheco is not involved in the organization's plan for next season. The front office knows it's finally time to invest in the running back position, per Nate Taylor on the Fan 965. I think he's a great backup running back. He just shouldn't be your starter. And neither should Kareem Hunt at this point. He's not fast enough. Minnesota Chiefs guy says this is it. Go get a tutty and win this game, or don't, and the season's over. Well,
Herbert, a 16-yard touchdown pass, 1st and 10. Here comes the drive here by hand. The throw by Mahomes, incomplete. Flag thrown, looking for.
Mahomes is down. Mahomes
Smith-Schuster, he sure is.
Timeout for injury.
Watching it again, hit by hand.
Watch as he goes to the ground. It looks like that.
Oh,
The left knee.
yep, you saw it.
You saw almost like it
Popped.
it almost hyperextends, like it straightens out as it hits into the ground. Watch this next step. The left knee right here.
if Nagy isn't gone this offseason, I'll scream. Don't matter if Reid stays. Bleeding Red says, I'm tired of the RPO. The league has it figured out. Correct. Same shit we've been running for 7 years. We used to play action. Don't matter if you play action if you don't run the ball. Defenses don't bite on it. Also, Travis Kelce, I love you, dude. Thanks for the memories. You've been the best tight end ever in the history of the NFL, in my opinion. Best I've ever watched, and I watched Tony Gonzalez's entire career. It's time to hang it up. Go enjoy married life, bro. No shame in that. Just walk away. Also, Mahomes has been in hero mode all fucking day because his coaching staff won't rein him in. You know, a great way to do that is to ditch the RPO and call actual running plays. You know, get to the line, go under center, run the ball from a pro set offense, and then throw the ball from under it. And then you play action from that. That way the defense can't key on your tendencies as well because they got it all figured out. Oh, Eric Bieniemy. Yeah, fuck him. AB might have done some dumb shit, but offense was always good with him here. It's the same offense that NFL has figured out now, though. These defenses have figured that offense out. So it doesn't matter that the offense was good when EB was here. It was good when Nagy came back. It's not now. Fucking telling you guys, like, follow me. Watch as EB takes the Bears in the playoffs. Yeah, he's the running backs coach. Ben Johnson is leading that team. If we had Ben Johnson here, it wouldn't have happened like that this year. Promise. He runs the fucking ball. Nagy ain't it. Well, it's an extension of Reid. Never said he was. Yeah, that's Ben Johnson. All the dumb fuck homers on Chiefs Planet over there calling for Nagy's head with zero fucking awareness that it's Andy Reid. E. Dave says they're calling for his too, except Clay, but he's a fucking dumb fuck who needs his teeth kicked down his throat. I'm not going to say that about Clay, but man, he's a little boy. Baby Lee, I said mid-season Mahomes was entering his Cam Newton era. Now it's up to Clark whether Reid enters his Hank Stram era. Jeff Swartz says, my Andy Reid take is very simple. He should not be fired after this season. That's stupid. If he doesn't make changes to the offensive staff, he will end up being fired after next season because the offense will stink again. I think I've made this clear. But, Jeff, he's made offensive changes that don't result in actual changes to the offense. I mean, what if he fires Matt Nagy and Connor Embry and then trots out the same fucking offense anyway? Because the offense will suck again if he doesn't change his philosophy. If he doesn't realize that he needs to run the ball, even with the great Patrick Mahomes at quarterback. Because by running the same bullshit year after year that defenses are clued in on, you've hamstrung Mahomes' effectiveness because everybody knows what he's going to do. So we'll go into one of these threads. Check it out. Fire Matt Nagy under the sun. Fucking who is the dumb fuck that started this thread? Oh, Pat Mahomes is God. Isn't that Mahomes is God? Yeah, he's insane. That guy is dude. The Nagy apologists are absolutely hilarious and massively low IQ. No, we're not apologizing for Nagy. We're not a Nagy apologist. We just fucking know. Yeah, here, this is it right here. This is the best thing ever. Let's see if we can get this on here. See that? Same motherfucking person. Would have got away with it too. You know? That's fucking fantastic right there. I'm going to download that and post it in there. That's a good one. King says, why do you do this? Seems like any time people suggest firing Nagy, you try to act like he's blameless and has nothing to do with offense. It's not even like you try to highlight why he's good. It's just trying to shift the blame to Reid. Because he's the head coach, motherfucker. The buck stops with him. It's his decision. Yes, we're blaming Reid. Yes. There is no good. That's the point. Why is this so fucking hard for supposed adults? Do you have any deductive logic? Do you have any deductive logic or cognitive reasoning? You would know. Like, doesn't matter if it's fucking Matt Nagy or Eric Bieniemy or Doug Peterson comes back. If Andy Reid wants to run that stupid spread one read RPO out of the shotgun, we're fucked. Which leads me to believe that he did this on purpose because he wasn't supposed to win. Chiefs drive results after their opening drive touchdown. Punt, punt, field goal, punt, interception, interception. It's going to say that the real damning thing is we scored on the first drive and then didn't do anything the rest of the game. A goddamn jihadist couldn't have done any more damage than the 2025 Chiefs coaching staff. Who said that? Yo, Murphy, that's my dude right there. Yeah. Run KC comes with the real truth. Fire Nagy, that's fine. Maybe read about late Philly Andy Reid. A lot of what happened there is happening here now. That's how Andy Reid lost the team in Philadelphia. That's true. Yeah, being surrounded by useless yes men, which Nagy is 100% one, and forgetting the rush attack entirely. And Connor Embry. Yeah, it's not just Matt Nagy. There's a whole staff of that shit going on right now. It's absolutely time to go. We know Andy isn't going anywhere, but someone's head needs to roll, and that someone is Nagy. This offense is a mess, and it demands changes be made. I'm 100% on the Nagy bandwagon. Yeah, have no hope it will happen though. My dude Tex says he thinks that Nagy goes somewhere else. Yeah, Matt Nagy gets another job, maybe even another head coaching job. Yeah, and he'll probably be a really good coach. He just won't win a Super Bowl. Doubt it. Oh, King. King is such a butt fucking moron. For real. Well, imagine trying to hype a fan base up to the guy that made Mahomes pedestrian. Nagy didn't do that. Stop hanging on to that. Like, that's delusional. That's all it is, you know. It's not a difference of opinion. That's delusion. Oh, SNR comes in with correlation doesn't equal causation, but it's pretty fucking clear at this point that Nagy isn't fucking helping. Our offense and Mahomes went in the shitter as soon as we brought Nagy back as OC. Actually, that's not true. We won a Super Bowl as soon as we brought Nagy back as OC. His first year back, we won. And then we went again last year in his second year back. Don't think the league has solved Andy Reid for 3 years and Nagy gets zero blame. I'm not going to say that. Nagy definitely gets some of the blame. You know what I blame Matt Nagy for? For co-signing Andy Reid's fat fucking bullshit. For not saying, no, fuck you, Andy. We're lining up under center and we're running the ball. I'm the offensive coordinator. I want to win games. I don't care what it looks like. Because it looks to me like they want a whole lot of style points going on with that shit. Nagy is a big part of this offense. 3 years of Nagy has been 3 years of suck. 2 of those years were Super Bowl years while we won one. But, you know, if we suck now, we sucked then. It was just Mahomes and the defense that got us through then. If Matt Nagy has been 3 years of suck, then Eric Bieniemy was suck. Reid sucks. We had a great defense and an amazing quarterback. Caught lightning in a bottle. Never going to get it again with this coaching staff. They have fucking screwed the pooch. They're cashed. History is going to remember Matt Nagy as a guy that ruined a generational QB. Yeah, the virus comes through with the facts. Average fan doesn't give a shit about an offensive coordinator. If this is Mahomes' new normal, it will be him and Andy Reid who will shoulder the blame. Sco says you might be right. Arrowheader. He really did. The offense went to shit since he got here. It's officially dead after today. Congrats, Nagy. All one line, no punctuation. This fucking weasel shouldn't be anywhere near our team next year, but Andy will keep him. Now they have an excuse because Mahomes is hurt. We'll look the same next year and waste another year. Maybe Clark fires him then. Who, Andy Reid? Clark ain't going to fire Matt Nagy. Andy Reid fires Matt Nagy. That's how the structure works. There's a hierarchy there. DRM08, one of the best posters on Chiefs Planet because he is not so emotionally tied to the Kansas City Chiefs. He's a Texas Tech Raiders fan who came to Chiefs Planet when we drafted Mahomes, so he's a bit more of a nuanced view of what's going on here. So let's look. He says, I blame Andy Reid, Brett Veach, and Andy Heck. Ooh, good one. Nowhere near enough run game, which is different from the other teams around the league. Everyone else has a run game, but not the Chiefs. He's not wrong. Kudos to DRM08. Should make him a mod. For real. A Como Chiefs fan. The whole offensive staff has been the biggest failure of Andy Reid's career. He was gifted the greatest quarterback talent of all time, and he betrayed that talent by filling the staff with a bunch of cronyism hires. Nagy, Blameyer, Embry. These guys should be coaching high school ball, not Patrick Mahomes. Nagy sucks, but he never should have been in this position. This is an failure. Matt Nagy doesn't suck. He's just not the offensive coordinator this team needs right now, especially with Andy Reid as the head coach. The thing that makes a good offensive coordinator isn't just the installs during the week, and it isn't just the play calls on game day. It's standing up to the head coach and telling them, like, we're going to have to do this, this, and this because this is my offense and this is what I know. Matt Nagy doesn't do that. The offense has changed zero since he came back. It's the same one we won the Super Bowl in 22 with. Same stupid one read bubble screens, go routes, and running out of the shotgun. What do we have, like 3 running plays? Like, I'm not even joking. I think most college teams have more running plays than the Kansas City Chiefs. So when DRM08 says that we have no running game, he's not exaggerating. So to say that Matt Nagy sucks and never should have been in that position isn't accurate. He was a great quarterbacks coach. And he'd probably be a better offensive coordinator without Andy Reid above him. I mean, got Mitch Trubisky to the playoffs.
That's what good teams do right there. Everybody in this organization deserves a good job.
Yep, Gary Cooper's right. The blame starts at the top. Nagy is not the top. He didn't draft or make free agency acquisitions. He didn't ask Veach and Reid to forego improving the running back position. He should be fired, but that by itself is not fixing all offensive problems. Yeah, Showtime Super Bowl MVP says it's Andy. Matt has no say, but hey, keep thinking this is a Matt problem. People got to blame somebody, and they like Andy Reid. He's a big, cuddly, fat man, and he's won 3 Super Bowls. So how dare we question him? Let's look for somebody to scapegoat. That someone's Matt Nagy when it should be Andy Heck or Connor Embry over Matt Nagy. Wide receivers know how to fucking hang on the ball. We don't have this problem. Mahomes magic. To not have a top 10 offense with Patrick Mahomes in his prime 3 years straight is garbage coaching and management. Facts. Bad offenses have a lot of issues. Quarterback is always one of those problems as well. We just can't keep pretending he isn't part of the problem. Well, Mr. Tigu, let me explain something to you there. If Andy Reid would rein him in and make him run the fucking ball from under center and run a real big boy NFL offense with actual progressions out of balanced pro set formations, you'd probably see a much more efficient and a better Patrick Mahomes. Look at what Buffalo's doing with Joe Brady. They run the fucking ball. Now, does that look to have minimized Josh Allen's effectiveness in any way whatsoever or limit his opportunities? Not in the fucking slightest. So this whole, well, if you hand the ball to the running back, it limits the opportunities that Mahomes gets is fucking stupid. You don't know anything about football if you think that. The more you run the ball, the more you hold on to the ball, the more plays you have, the more chances you have with the ball. Fucking math. Jesus Christ. 9 interceptions in 7 games. Yeah, if you don't run the ball, and you run the same plays constantly against defenses that are stacked, selling out to stop that pass, that's what's going to happen. If you just stay in the shotgun and keep firing at them, don't change anything. Well, yeah, they've got it figured out. How many times do we have to tell you that, you dumb motherfuckers? For real. Like, quit being so fucking obtuse. Tex, yeah, I can buy into that. Nagy's a good quarterback coach. Yes, he is. He is. I can hear the Nagy. Oh, goddamn, Gordon Gecko. I can hear the Nagy apologist running here right now, ready to state that Andy Reid does everything on O and Nagy just collects a paycheck. Even if that were true, his ass should be fired for not doing anything. Either way, Nagy needs to be run out of the NFL fast. Nah, he just needs to not be on a team with Andy Reid. Guarantee you put Nagy on another team with a good quarterback and a good running game, and he's going to be just fine. I'm on your side. To be fair, most of them are from receivers batting them up or frustration with no one getting open and punting series after series. I don't fault Mahomes, but he really made chicken salad out of chicken shit for the most part. Meh. Here's where my criticism of Patrick Mahomes comes in. He needs to check the fucking ball down. He needs to quit slinging the ball up like that. Quit trying to play hero ball. Just take what the defense gives you. Check to a run. Take the easy yards. Throw to your running back. Your outlet pass. Your dump off. Little flare. Little swing pass. Get 3 yards, 5 yards. Every time it's available. See, that's what Joe Montana, Troy Aikman, Tom Brady always did. And it was boring. It was like watching fucking paint dry sometimes. You're like, oh, fuck, they just picked up another 6 yards on a swing pass. Oh, they ran for a first down. And then they threw another little dump pass. A little tight end waggle. And then they run the ball some more. And they chink, chink. And it's like death by 1,000 paper cuts. And eventually they have a touchdown. And they did that 3 or 4 times a game, and they fucking won. That's how it works in the NFL.
The Chiefs' offense exploded. Mahomes won MVP, 5,200 passing yards, 41 touchdowns, and Kelce had one of his best seasons ever, 110 catches, 1,300 yards, and 12 touchdowns. But then 2023 began. Kelce finally started showing signs of wearing down at age 34, where in 2022, when he was good, he broke 13 tackles, but then in 2023, 24, and this year combined, he's broken just 7. With him wearing down, he's stopped being their go-to for explosive plays. At the beginning of 2023, the Chiefs drafted Rashee Rice, who's filled this underneath Tyreek Hill role, and he broke out for 7 touchdowns in his rookie season. But he's been injured or suspended. Now Worthy's injured too. So here we are in 2025 with the Chiefs just left with Kelce's old non-breaking tackle ass and not much else. He used to be the guy you could design concepts for, have him win isolated matchups one-on-one, have him use his surprising speed to get him downfield vertical on play action, but now he's just more of a move the chains type security blanket, not the dominant number 1 guy he used to be. Over time, the Chiefs slowly morphed into a quick game offense like I said. Because of how condensed they were towards the line of scrimmage, they focused on scheme and execution on third downs and in the red zone. And then they've always had Mahomes been able to extend the play. But without Rice underneath, with Kelce aging, and their offensive line slowly deteriorating throughout the years, defenses can compress down towards the line even more and suffocate the quick game. Mahomes doesn't trust his protection enough to sit in the pocket and attack the intermediate area. This year he's only throwing the ball 10 to 19 yards down the field 11.4% of the time. That's 35th highest. And that goes for his deep ball too, where he's completing just 27% of his deep passes, 26th highest. That was awful last year too. And in the past when he's extended the play, that's when it was Kelce time. But with Kelce washed, Mahomes just has run and run and run. The way to fix all of this is, as I said, establish the running game. You're almost always running into super light boxes with 2 high safeties. But the Chiefs, and the channel OGers know this, operate almost exclusively out of shotgun, where it's much harder to have a wider diversity of run concepts since the running back's starting right next to the quarterback. So to get some of that diversity, the Chiefs run outside zone, counter, but these are concepts where the running back doesn't start downhill, he starts towards the side, which negates the advantage you gain from the second safety starting deep. By the time Isaiah Pacheco is getting to the line of scrimmage, the safety is already there to blow up the play. For Mahomes to bounce back, obviously Rashee Rice will help, but in my opinion, he's a band-aid to the problem. He doesn't fix anything, he's just back into the passive underneath role. For this to be fixed, Mahomes needs to push the ball down the field more effectively from the pocket, where, for example, he has Kelce on this out route, which he typically would hit. This is not the issue. But since he doesn't like it, Mahomes is smart enough to know this is 2 high safeties. It's all defenses play against him, so he needs to anticipate this open space through the middle where Hollywood Brown is running this read-through route and hit him before it's too late. Or like later in the game, it's literally the same play. This means Andy Reid likes this play against this coverage, and he's calling it again because he knows Mahomes missed it.
Running the same shit. Week after fucking week, acting like NFL defenses aren't going to figure it out. Well, that's on Andy Reid for letting Matt Nagy do that. Offense has piss poor talent. This offense roster is bottom league talent-wise outside of Mahomes. No, I won't go that far. I mean, Cincinnati's trash. They've got Jamar Chase and what else? Sometimes Joe Burrow. Yeah, like every NFL team has about the same level of talent for the most part, really, outside of a couple of guys. We have those couple guys. We got the guys on offense and defense, supposedly. What we don't have are a running back and wide receivers, which is amazing considering the focus that the wide receiver unit has gotten in the past few off seasons. But they aren't it. You know, they're too small. They don't body off receivers. And you could get away with that when you had Kelsey. But this year that was any random tight end. That was a jag out there. Travis Kelsey is a straight up jag now. It's just what it is. He needs to retire. We need new wide receivers. NFL defenses have caught up to this offense. And yeah, that's the long and the short of it. We can keep going on, but it's just more of the same bullshit from all these guys. Man, it's the same shit. King Chief fan. I agree with this, but nothing will change. We will get to see this next year as well. Mahomes' magic is dead. It is if we don't start running the ball. Like, we're going to look at this. The team that spends the least amount of time in the shotgun, the LA Rams. They line up under center. They run a real big boy NFL offense, and they run the fucking ball right at you. They don't care who you are. They're also the best team in the league right now. They're probably going to win the Super Bowl. So, Matt Stafford may be the first NFL MVP, Super Bowl MVP we've had since, like, I don't know, who's the last person that did that? Fucking Tom Brady? Yeah, you can think all you want. But yeah, if we trot this same bullshit out there next year, it's going to be the same shit. We weren't unlucky this year any more than we were lucky last year. We went from upper echelon, truly great, to middle of the pack, but we had a great quarterback and a good defense. That's how we won 2 Super Bowls in 22 and 23. That offense has continued its descent. Now that Mahomes is hurt, which was an inevitability, by the way, just surprised it took this long. But yeah, with the season on the line, you don't do anything different but line him up in the shotgun, have him keep slinging the ball into the teeth of that defense designed to stop the pass, selling out to stop the pass. Of course he got hurt. Now the season's done. And time to regroup and really like self-reflect and don't whitewash nothing. You know, don't delude yourself into believing that, we just do a couple of tweaks, it'll be all right. No, man, it won't be all right. There's a philosophical, foundational issue with the team. And it starts at the top. Andy Reid's undisciplined, he's soft, he's a player's coach. All the issues that came to fruition at the end of his Philadelphia tenure are coming to fruition now, and we're right about the same point, too, in it, aren't we? Like, about 12, 13 years in. I think he served 13 years in Philadelphia, and this is his 12th year here, I think. 12th or 13th year. Right about the same time, you know, guys start tuning out the same spiel over and over again, and they've ran the same plays, and, you know, their focus just isn't there because it's just, how could it be? If you've been doing the same fucking shit for this long, you haven't changed anything, well, you just kind of go on autopilot, right? That's what it looks like. So I keep going on, but there's no point. You know, people on Chiefs Planet are going to keep posting a bunch of dumb shit because that's what they do. Go over there and tell them that the NFL's rigged and see what they think about that. They love that shit. Yeah. They love it when people tell them what's really going on. Hate it. A bunch of delusional, old, fat, pasty motherfuckers over there. Yeah. If you don't like it, if you think it's rigged, why do you watch it? I've been watching this shit my whole life. I'm conditioned. Hell, man, when I talk to my old friends in the old neighborhood, or when I go back to my family reunions or whatever, guess what everybody's talking about? Hey, man, did you see the game? What do you think about the Chiefs? When I travel, when I'm in New York City or if I'm in Dallas, Texas, and somebody hears me talking and they go, wow, you're from Missouri. I go, yeah, is it obvious? And like, yeah, we can hear it in your accent. What do you think? What do you think about the Chiefs? Motherfuckers in other cities. If I'm sitting on a plane in first class, the dude next to me, oh, you're from Kansas City? What do you think about the Chiefs? Yeah, I watch because I live in Missouri. And it's the only thing worth watching on TV. Oh, and everything on TV is scripted, by the way. You think the WWE fans don't realize that what they're watching is scripted? No, but they enjoy it anyway. It's called suspension of disbelief. Marty Byrde, that ain't the dude's real name, and that show ain't even really fucking shot in the Ozarks. Shot in Georgia. Nothing's real that you're watching on TV. It's all scripted. There's no way that they're going to have 32 billionaire owners who are collectively going to leave their product in the hands of a bunch of barely literate 22-year-old kids who fucking can't even live their own lives without getting in trouble. It's not going to happen. You know, they have the refs out there, the little earpieces in. I think it was Stumpy who was in the game day chat. Well, they should have full-time NFL referees. Why? The referees have those earpieces in there, and New York watches every single play with more than one person watching, and they make a call, and they tell the referees what to call on every fucking play. Every single flag that gets thrown gets ran through New York. And the referees that are out there have that earpiece in there, and they do everything that New York tells them to do, whether it makes sense or not. Why do they need full-time referees for that? You can stick anybody out there with a fucking earpiece on, and they'll do what you say. They get paid like $250,000 a year for a part-time gig. True story. And if the NFL thought that there was a problem with the way that their NFLs officiated the games, they'd fucking change that shit. But they don't. Ratings through the roof. Profits are outrageous. They're moving more merch than they ever fucking have. They ain't changing a fucking thing. I think it's just fine the way it is. Oh, and you will keep watching. So will I. And that's the part I don't like. I'm glad that my Sundays have opened up. I mean, it's better than watching this fucking trash. And that's what I would rather watch a 2-14 team, a 2-15 team suck and be absolutely futile than to blow hot and cold the way this fucking bullshit was this year. Not worth your time. It's an insult to your intelligence, if you have any. You know, thing is this is just watching this season was an insult to my intelligence, and I don't know who to blame because I chose to sit and watch this trash. The NFL's not changing it. This is FanDuel football. Look at what happened last week in the Raiders-Broncos game.
Wow, we just witnessed probably the shadiest field goal of the entire season. You got people melting down thinking that Pete Carroll of the Raiders bet on this game. There's 29 seconds left, and yes, Kenny Pickett is in this game for Geno Smith, who got whacked earlier and hurt his shoulder. But despite the fact that the Raiders have 0 timeouts, they're definitely going to lose. The Raiders decide to spike the football here and hope that they could somehow close the gap. And here's where things get really sketchy. The Raiders complete a long pass to Tyler Lockett. it, and they have no timeout, so you should expect this game to be over, but instead, the refs call a delay of game penalty because the defender interfered with Tyler Lockett's ability to get up and try to spike the ball. He wouldn't have spiked the ball anyway, even if the defender didn't get in his way. But let me remind you, the spread for this Broncos versus Raiders game was 7.5 points before the game. Bettors around the world were ready to celebrate the fact that the Broncos were going to win by 10, having the Broncos cover easily. But no, because of this flag, the Raiders are now set up perfectly in field goal range and the clock is stopped. No timeout is required. This is so ridiculous the announcers can't even believe it, and they're making up all kinds of excuses for Pete Carroll here.
Kick it. Try an onside kick it and hope for the Hail Mary. That's what you're telling us, right, Andrew?
This first announcer is trying to act like the Raiders are playing for the win, like they're really going to kick this field goal, have extra time left over, and be able to get an onside kick. And the other announcer keeps it real that this is not about winning the game at all. This is about something else, perhaps that spread.
Something like that?
I think he's saying there's a different interest now in this play.
There's a different interest in this play, and that is why you have gamblers around the world flipping the F out as Daniel Carlson closes the gap here, ruining that 7.5 spread win for the Denver Broncos. Dave Portnoy, Barstool Sports, could not believe it. You know he had money on the Broncos.
Pete Carroll should be in prison. Prison for Pete Carroll. The refs, everybody. I want Pete Carroll murdered. Can you see this play right here?
Obviously, Pete Carroll's not the first and only coach to be accused of doing something like this, but this just goes to show you that even when a team's losing the game, some people might have more to play for than just a win and a loss.
But the referees stopped the clock with seconds to go so that the Raiders could kick a literal, meaningless field goal as time expired so that the people who took those points wouldn't win. Guess who won? Las Vegas. Tell me that shit ain't fucking rigged. Fucking morons.
Super Bowl 37 champion, Dwight Smith, who was a part of that team, 2 pick sixes. We all know what he did against the Raiders. But he joins us here in the Ronnie and T-Crash show as we count down to Super Bowl Sunday. Dwight, Ronnie, and Tom here. How are you? Welcome to the show. All right.
We have it coming right.
There it is.
Oh, is that right? Well, you know, we got a great matchup coming up with Super Bowl 55. Obviously, the Buccaneers are playing on their home field. They're not the home team, I guess. I guess you could say they're the home team, but it's supposed to be a neutral field. But just tell me, as a former Buccaneer, how surreal is this for the Bucs to be in the Super Bowl in Tampa at Raymond James Stadium?
That's a good question, man. I would like to ask some Tampa fans that question because I really don't know.
Well, I mean, this is something that no one's ever seen before. I mean, you're hosting the Super Bowl. The Bucs are in it. It's Brady versus Mahomes. I mean,
that was something I predicted at the beginning of the year. I said if the NFL wanted to have the home team in the Super Bowl, this would be the perfect year. Pandemic, people can't travel, you know, so it's not a shock to me.
How big of an advantage do you think it will be for the Buccaneers not having to travel anywhere? Because obviously, you know, when you were in the Super Bowl,
that's not no advantage. I don't have no advantage.
No advantage? Okay.
No.
All right, so
that's like saying they have advantage at every home game during the year. So I mean, it ain't like they won every home game, so it ain't much of an advantage. Yeah, y'all know all the X's and O's, man. I'm just sitting at home watching. I don't like to get into that because I don't believe the game is really decided on the field. So, you know, I don't get into all the X's and O's and talking, man. Like I said, I played in the game. I set a Super Bowl record, and we knew every play they was running before the game started. So, hey, who am I to say?
Well, tell us about that week leading up to the Super Bowl, because that was the big thing. Bill Callahan was the Raiders coach at the time. Obviously, John Gruden had just come over. Tell us about that week of preparation leading up to the game and how it was executed by you guys. I mean, you could know which plays are coming. And
Tim Brown and Jerry Rice come out and say that they made them run Jerry Rice. John Gruden's offense.
Yes. Yep. It was his offense, and you guys knew exactly what was coming. Did you know every single play?
They didn't run that offense all year, though. Ain't it odd that you would run it when you're playing against us?
So did you guys know every play before the ball was snapped?
I'm just saying, man, the game ain't decided on the field. That's all I'm going to say. Like I said, I predict who's going to be in the Super Bowl. It ain't about who has the best players. Football is entertainment. So what's the most entertaining Super Bowl? The Bucs in their first one against Patrick Mahomes has nothing to do with if these are the best teams, because we know that these aren't the best teams. The Bucs are not the best NFC team.
So who's the best team in the NFC, in your opinion?
The Green Bay Packers.
Okay. But the Bucs beat them at Lambeau, though. I mean, the Bucs proved it. They went there. They beat Aaron Rodgers at his place.
You can say what you want, man. Like I say, the game ain't decided on the field.
But the Bucs beat Green Bay like 38-10 at Raymond James Stadium in the regular season.
You're not listening to me, man. You keep saying
So how is it decided then if it's not on the field?
The Giants won the Super Bowl in 2007. I had two pick sixes. One I took back 93 yards, another pick up there in New York. We beat them 40-something. We didn't have Adrian Peterson. They went on to win a Super Bowl. Like, you go for who beat what and how? Like, come on, man. Stop that.
All right, so how do you see this one playing out on Sunday?
It depends on when Vegas make that call. How Vegas ain't going to lose the most money.
So do you think the Bucs' original Super Bowl that you were a part of and won was illegitimate?
I think everyone is.
If you don't mind me asking then, and we obviously appreciate giving us a little bit of time, why do an interview for the Super Bowl if you don't believe that it's set up the right way?
Y'all asked me to. Don't nobody call me no other time until Super Bowl come, right?
No, that's fair.
Did anybody, when we got on the phone, say, hey, how's your family doing? How your kids doing? No, none of that matters. So I'm going to give you my honest opinion.
And I appreciate that. We do.
We do.
I mean, that is our job, though, is to talk sports. I mean, it's not personal.
So what is your honest...
job to be real.
We understand that. So what is your honest opinion of Tom Brady being in 10 Super Bowls?
Good luck. A lot of luck,
Okay.
Because, everybody say Tom Brady, but if I can remember, there's a lot of kickers kicking kicks for him to make it there.
Well, Tom Brady did put him in a position to make those kicks.
So did Jim Kelly, but his kicker missed the kick.
He did. He did miss the kick.
Right. He did.
He did miss the kick.
Well,
he also lost 4 Super Bowls in a row.
But it's Jim Kelly's fault. Or it's not Tom Brady's fault if his kicker do. Like, come on, man. Boy, man. We break stuff down like it's so small. Like, this is the only reason that it happened. Like, come on, man.
So the reason you guys won the Super Bowl wasn't because of your outstanding defense. It was because that's the way it was predetermined? That's what you're telling us?
If our defense was so outstanding, why we couldn't beat the Saints that year? Saints beat us twice. So why did the Oakland Raiders say, we're going to go in with the Saints game plan? Because they had Deuce McCall, they ran the ball down our throat. Why didn't they come in and say, we're going to do the same thing?
All right, D.
Now there's no more one to talk.
Well, we don't know what else to say.
We're just caught off guard a little bit. That's all.
A little bit.
To be honest with you.
Let's talk about the fact that the Lions made Calvin Johnson and Barry Sanders give back money, but they traded Matthew Stafford when he wanted to be.
Yeah, well, hey.
Barry Sanders didn't want to play for John Ross. Let's
not talk about the real things, man. Let's just talk about that. I got you, man. I got you.
Well, Barry Sanders didn't want to play for Bobby Ross, but that's another story for another day.
So
him and Calvin Johnson both asked to be traded. They wanted to go somewhere where they could try to win. They made them retire and give some of their money back.
All right, so let's, for just a second, I just want to get your thoughts on Patrick Mahomes and what he's done at his young age.
It's great, man. I mean, the key for me with most teams is let's see how your team performs after your quarterback rookie contract kicks in. After, he's off his rookie contract.
So what do you think about Jameis Winston's time in Tampa Bay now that he's in New Orleans?
Never liked it. Now, back to what I was saying. We watched the Seattle Seahawks be good until they paid Russell Wilson. We watched the Packers go to the Super Bowl until they paid Aaron Rodgers. The Eagles would win. The Rams would golf. So, you got to try to do it while you're on your rookie deal, unless you got Tom Brady as your quarterback.
All right, so how do you see this game playing out? I guess you already told us, right? It's just depending on what Vegas wants it to be, right?
Yeah, the New England Rams game 10-3, man. Who thought that was happening?
All right, Dwight, man, we appreciate it.
The next stop in this video takes us all the way to Super Bowl 37. If someone were to rig the Super Bowl, then maybe the least likely candidate would be a head coach. But somehow there's a game in NFL history where multiple players have accused their head coach of losing on purpose. This is the story of Bill Callahan and the Super Sabotage. In the 1998 offseason, Raiders owner Al Davis hired up-and-coming offensive guru John Gruden as head coach. The Raiders hadn't made the playoffs in 5 years, but things were looking up when Gruden came to town. By the turn of the century, he turned journeyman quarterback Rich Gannon into an MVP candidate. And with a much-improved defense, the team made the AFC Championship. The next season, in 2001, ended in yet another playoff heartbreak. And by this time, Gruden and Al Davis were on track for an amicable divorce. On February 18, 2002, the Raiders completed a blockbuster trade, sending Gruden to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers for a stockpile of valuable draft picks and $8 million. A few weeks after the trade, offensive coordinator Bill Callahan was promoted to head coach in Oakland. Callahan made his jump to the NFL in 1995 as an O-line coach for the Eagles. That same year, Gruden was hired as Eagles offensive coordinator. When Gruden then got the head coaching gig in Oakland, he brought in Callahan as his coordinator. So in 2002, Callahan took over the team at quite possibly the perfect time. Gruden's system had been fully implemented, they had the right players for the scheme, and they were overflowing with talent. Gannon was named NFL MVP behind one of the best O-lines in the league, while throwing to 2 Hall of Fame wide receivers in Tim Brown and Jerry Rice, considered the best receiver to ever play. Rice was 40 years old, but still put together a 1,200-yard season. Then there was Charlie Gardner, a talented dual-threat running back, and Jerry Porter, a young receiver having a breakout year. On the other side of the ball, you had a top 10 defense led by Hall of Famers Rod Woodson and Charles Woodson. After going 11-5 and stomping the Titans in the AFC Championship, the Raiders were on their way to San Diego to face none other than John Gruden's Tampa Bay Buccaneers in Super Bowl 37. On Monday morning, Callahan handed the team a booklet titled Game Plan to a Championship. It featured a set of run-dominant plays, and they believed they could outpower the Bucs' defensive line with the size of their offensive line. Plus, the Bucs' defense had been absolutely feasting on the passing game all year, so the plan made sense. They practiced that on Wednesday and Thursday. According to players, it was a great week of practice, and the team had fully bought into the strategy. Then on Friday morning, 2 days before the Super Bowl, Callahan walks into the building and basically says, "Never mind, forget the run game plan, we're gonna throw it 60 times. Rod Woodson said it was a shocker to everybody. He was in such disbelief that he dropped his book during the meeting. Tim Brown couldn't believe it either.
When things are changed and you know, you go from one offense to another offense, you know, it just, you know, it didn't make any sense for that to be happening at that particular point.
Some people have theorized that Al Davis got a hold of the game plan late in the week and wanted to continue with the Raiders' high-flying passing attack, but Brown believes that Davis had nothing to do with it. In fact, he said the change in plans was such a big deal that some of the players attempted to track down Davis on that Friday to let him know about Callahan's last-second change. One player in particular approached Callahan himself, begging him to not go through with the switch. And that player was Barrett Robbins, the All-Pro center in the midst of a career year, who come Saturday was nowhere to be found. Tim Brown said the team knew going into the big game that they had no shot. Part of that was the game plan change, but another part of it was one of their best players going missing. On Friday night, Barrett Robbins was dropped off at the team hotel just before curfew. When the team reported for Saturday meetings, though, Robbins had gone AWOL. It was the day before the Super Bowl, and not even his wife knew where he was. There was hope he would show up for a walkthrough at Qualcomm Stadium later in the day, but still, when the time came, there was no sign of Robbins. This team was now hours away from the biggest game in their lives, and they had a super distraction on their hands. It would be a news story any day of the week for a talented NFL player to suddenly disappear, but for it to happen the day before the Super Bowl, well, that's a whole new ballgame. It wasn't until Saturday night that Robbins was found crying by himself in a booth at a San Diego bar. Luckily, a couple Raiders fans recognized him and paid a taxi driver to take him back to the hotel. What they didn't know was that Robbins, from Friday night through Saturday, had escaped the team hotel and made a round-trip drinking binge in Tijuana, Mexico. The reason why? Well, in his mind, he was celebrating a Super Bowl victory. He somehow ended up back in San Diego, but has no memory of how it all happened. Later, he would admit that he lost his mind that weekend. It was just one of many times in his life that he experienced an episode like this. And in no way was he mentally okay to play on Sunday, so Callahan had him benched. Robbins was notably a smash-mouth player lauded for his run blocking. There's a theory some Raiders players share that Callahan's late strategy swap away from the run game was the trigger that set this episode off. On Friday, Robbins implored Callahan to keep the old plan, with him having the on-field duty to make the protection calls. He said, "I don't have time to prepare for this. Please don't do this. You can't do this to me." But Callahan wouldn't budge. Things got even worse from there, with some players calling Callahan's bizarre action sabotage. Part of that also comes from Callahan keeping Gruden's audible calls, so the Bucs could quite literally predict the exact play call at the line of scrimmage. Even if Callahan honestly had a change of heart in the game plan, then why didn't he switch up Gruden's old audibles? One coaching blunder for the ages can be overlooked, but two in the same week before the championship is well deserving of an eyebrow raise.
Was it slow OC? Yeah. I told him right before. They're too predictable. They're too predictable.
Now we have to get to the motive. What motive could Callahan have had to throw the biggest game of his career? That's going to be a tough argument to make. This side of the theory revolves around three different factors. One, Callahan was hoping to get fired and be freed from Al Davis, who is well known to be one of the strongest personalities in all of NFL history, and certainly had a way of creating enemies. That could partially explain Callahan's dramatic outburst the next year where he called his team
the dumbest team in America.
And it didn't take long for Davis to fire Callahan after the 2003 season. Left guard Frank Middleton said he didn't think Callahan was happy on the Raiders, and the team wasn't happy with him as head coach. The next piece to this theory is Callahan getting the Nebraska job just days after the Raiders axing. That isn't too unusual in the coaching world, but it does signify that talks were most likely going on while Callahan was under contract as one of the lowest paid head coaches in the NFL. Nebraska, of course, was willing to pay him 50% more than Davis was. On top of that, the school signed him up for a 6-year contract. Back then, this job was looking like a very safe bet, with Nebraska being named national champion 3 times in the prior 10 years. You could argue that working in one of the best college football jobs was much better than being under the microscope of Al Davis. And you're getting paid way more too. Maybe Callahan even had money disagreements with Davis like Mike Shanahan did. Davis reportedly owed $250,000 to Shanahan, but never paid up. Things got real personal between those two, and Callahan had already seen what happened to his buddy Gruden when his next contract was coming around. Speaking of Gruden, Callahan in a way owed his position in the NFL to him, and it's been speculated that he would have followed Gruden to Tampa if the trade conditions had allowed Gruden to bring any assistance. On top of that, later in Callahan's career, Jay Gruden hired him as an assistant, so the trust between Callahan and the Gruden family is quite evident. Tim Brown would argue that bond is stronger than any bond between Callahan and the Raiders. He said Callahan had a big problem with the Raiders. hated the Raiders. He only came because Gruden made him come. Literally walked off the field on us a couple of times during the season when he first got there. Jerry Rice added substance to this claim while backing up Brown's sabotage accusations. Now we have multiple players in the Hall of Fame, going public with this seemingly outrageous claim. Even if Callahan was frustrated by Davis and he knew he had better opportunities, and he had an undying loyalty to Gruden, does that really surpass the personal glory and career-changing effects of winning a Super Bowl? The decision to change game plans and use old Gruden audibles was so mind-boggling that Brown and Rice could only believe it was done with malicious intent. But with the details publicly released right now, nothing sounds too convincing. There would have to be something else going on behind the scenes with Callahan for him to actually throw the Super Bowl. Now, without knowing all that was going on, the public had the Raiders favored to win the game. But when you watch the 48-21 shellacking, it sure looks like one defense knew the play calls, and one offense had no faith in itself after a catastrophic week of preparation. In hindsight, the Bucs were probably going to win no matter what. They had one of the best defenses of all time, Gruden knew the Raiders inside out, and they were a deserving champion. But that single week of disastrous measures for the Raiders will seemingly remain a mystery. It's fair to point out how Rich Gannon and other Raiders players have come to Callahan's defense since the accusations broke out, and of course Callahan, as a current assistant coach in the NFL, has denied all suspicions. It's clear that Callahan's decision-making affected his team in every possible way. The question is, was it just a crucial coaching error, or was there something more to it?